The secret to a successful sweep is perfect timing. Without the right timing, your opponent will never fall, even if you use the right technique. You want to catch your opponent as they shift their weight onto their lead leg. That is why fighters often use this move when their opponent is advancing aggressively. The more committed your opponent is to stepping forward, the more effective your sweep will be. And there is no greater commitment than when they are throwing a punch. Now, here's the second crucial detail for this technique. You need to make contact before your opponent's foot hits the ground. By catching their foot in the air, you can sweep their foot without facing any resistance, and you won't have to use any power. But if you wait until their foot lands, you'll need more power to take their leg out from under them. You might even need to use an inside calf kick. If you decide to go for an inside calf kick with your lead leg, remember to execute it quickly without a stance switch, because switching could telegraph your kick. Thank you for watching and see you next time.
This move looks like a John Wick type of move that would only work in Hollywood movies. But as a fighter, you definitely need to get out of the box and be creative. Here is how to do it. Your goal is to trap your opponent in this vulnerable position. Your legs behind their legs and your arm across their chest. Begin by taking a step forward while throwing a cross. Remember, this cross isn't meant to land. It is just a distraction. Second, as you throw the cross, place your leg behind your opponent's rear leg and your arm across their chest. Now that your opponent is trapped, it is time to take them down. Push your hips forward while pulling your arm back. This move should be quick and sneaky to minimize the risk of a counterattack, especially an elbow strike. Remember, you are coming in at full speed, which can amplify the impact of an elbow if you are not careful. To my knowledge, the only fighter who used this move successfully in fights was former UFC light heavyweight champion Lyoto Machida, who has a karate background. But it is a bit frustrating that although Machida proved the effectiveness of this move, you still don't see fighters using it. Maybe this is due to MMA trainers looking down upon old traditional martial arts, and maybe considering them all bullshito, which is totally wrong in my opinion. Bruce Lee said it best: absorb what is useful, discard what is useless, and add what is uniquely your own. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. How to do a double spinning back fist like Shara Bullet. First, move your lead leg to the side, pivot on that foot, and turn your heel towards your opponent. Then spin and aim for their head. Once you've thrown that first back fist, rotate right back and throw a second back fist with the opposite hand. This double motion can catch an opponent completely off guard if done right. Now that we explained the Shara Bullet move, let's get to more details so you can adapt it to different situations in the ring. There are 3 ways to do a spinning back fist. Each one has its own strengths and weaknesses. First way is the way Shara Bullet did it, which is stepping to the side with the lead leg. This variation works better when it is set up with kicks or punches. In Shara's case, he sets it up beautifully by throwing lead side kicks a few times, then steps to the side and lands the back fist. This variation works best if you are in the offense and looking to open up your opponent. Now, if you want to use the back fist as defense, the next variation would work better for you. Just pivot your lead foot and throw the back fist without changing your foot's position. This variation is faster and has more chance to land when used as a counter strike. Now the third variation. Pivot on your lead foot and spin your rear leg and rear hand together at the same time. This variation packs the most power of them all. Also, it is very useful if the distance between you and your opponent is great. The only thing I personally don't like about it is that it involves a lot of commitment. So if you miss, you could find yourself in a stance that's not yours. Also, because it involves a lot of rotation, sometimes fighters miss and lose balance, which exposes them to devastating counters. Now, one last thing to cover. What part of the hand should you make contact with? Could you use the back of your hand or the side? The back of the hand is actually more vulnerable. It has lots of veins and small bones that can easily get injured. So aim to strike with the side of your hand in a hammer fist. This is stronger, safer, and reduces the risk of injury. But remember, if you are in a sport like boxing that doesn't allow hammer fists, you'll need to adjust accordingly. Thank you for watching and see you next time.
Step that way. Boom, boom.
Hello guys, here are the details on how to do this Jon Jones variation of the stomp kick.
Step to the side with your lead leg. Make sure your toes are pointing outward to open your hips for the side kick. Second, chamber your leg for leverage. And finally, aim your kick at the inner side of your opponent's knee. Now, why should you step to the side in the first place? Can't you just side kick your opponent's knee without stepping? The answer is yes, of course you can. However, striking is all about angles. Attacking straight on is not always the smartest approach. By stepping to the side, you create a new angle, moving out of your opponent's direct striking line and minimizing the risk of their counterattack. Also, if your opponent's knee is bent and their leg muscles are tight, it is hard to overextend the knee from the front. But if you kick from the side, you avoid that resistance, making it easier to hyperextend the knee. And finally, how can you make the step less telegraphed? Well, you can make the step less obvious by hiding it with a cross. The punch doesn't have to land. It is just there to disguise and camouflage the real strike, which is the stomp kick. That's it, guys. If you want to learn the oblique kick the way Jon Jones does it, check the video on the screen. Thanks for watching and see you next time.
This fighter catches the roundhouse directly, but in my demonstration, I added a slight step to the side to catch the roundhouse kick. The step to the side might seem minor, but it is essential for handling the kick's full power. By stepping to the side, you are positioning yourself to absorb the impact better without taking the kick head on. Now, here is where you need to be extra cautious. When you go in for the elbow strikes, make sure to keep your head shielded behind the arm. Always expect the unexpected. Your opponent might throw another roundhouse from the other side or even try a flying kick. So stay covered and don't leave yourself open. And here is another detail you need to watch out for. When you are holding their leg with one arm, the side of your face corresponding to that arm is exposed. So watch out for punches on that side. Most fighters can't generate much power on one leg, but some can still pack knockout power even on one leg. So tuck your chin, keep your head down, and stay sharp. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.
I genuinely don't understand why MMA fighters and kickboxers don't use this kick. It is extremely effective, and obviously you can knock out anyone using this kick. Here is how to do it. Step 1. Start by faking a low kick to your opponent's leg. You need to make them believe it. Turn your hips, rotate your shoulders, and to make it even more convincing, look down at their leg. Step 2. In mid-air, twist your hips and redirect the kick upwards, aiming for your opponent's head on the opposite side. Step 3. Make contact with either your foot or your shin. The shin is a larger, stronger bone, so it deals more damage. However, if your opponent is standing slightly further away, use your foot to reach them. Now, how can you set it up to get a clean knockout? The best setup is to throw a low kick or two to trick your opponent into thinking that this is your game. Once they start watching for your low kicks, that's when you switch to an Ushimawashi Giri. That's why it works perfectly in Kyokushin Karate, because low kicks are part of the game. Well, that's it, guys. If you have tried this kick in sparring or competition, let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. If your opponent is a low kicker, you can either check their kick or pull back and let them kick in the air. But Tom Aspinall has another clever move. He counters low kicks with an oblique kick to the opponent's supporting leg as they throw the low kick. This is a take one to give one type of counter. You have to accept that you might take a hard low kick, but in exchange, you'll deliver a much more damaging and devastating kick. Even if you don't land clean, consistently threatening with this counter will likely make your opponent hesitate and force them to commit less power to their low kicks. Now, if you want to reduce the impact of the low kick on your leg, you can turn your shin toward their kick and throw a side kick to their knee. However, this trick comes with a risk. If they fake the low kick and go high instead, your head will be fully exposed. So it's up to you to choose the best approach based on your opponent's skills and fighting style. With that being said, you should also know that this counter doesn't work well against Alex Pereira's type of low kick. In his style, the hips don't fully turn over, making the kick faster and harder to read, which makes it nearly impossible to counter in time. But the good news is, most fighters don't use this kicking style because it requires specific mechanics and a special body type that not everybody has. Thank you for watching and see you next time.